The title for today's webinar is Wrapping Up for September. So the first key piece of information, or wrapping up for the year, ready for September. So the first key bit of information is about rolling the school forward. You don't have to do anything. We will do that midway through August. So we tend to do it about 3 weeks into the holidays. Obviously, some people finish a week later and start a week earlier, and generally somewhere in the middle. So it gives you a couple of weeks at the end to analyze your data. It'll give you a couple of weeks, before you start if you're trying to get all your ducks in a row nice and early. So we will do that for you. Okay. Now, the first thing to actually do is just to make sure that all your pupils are correct. So all that involves doing is going into the admin section and doing a quick wand import. That should then fix everything, make sure that anyone who's left is left and all things like that, any joiners, stuff like that. It's worth having a press before you finish, but obviously when we do it in September, that'll pull on all the new children anyway. So it's not too important. What you do sometimes get this time of year is you may do a wand import, but there's a child still showing when they shouldn't be. And that can happen because if in the summer, iTRACK tends to err on the side of caution. So every so often, you might have a child that you're trying to take out before you do your data drop, but iTRACK's left them in because it doesn't know if you're trying to do it before or after your data drop. Sometimes you might do your data and then they leave a week before the end. It could be that they leave on the first week. So if that's the case, all you have to do is go down to the transients tab, select the year group that they are in, like that, hit go, and then on this grid, if you do need to take somebody out, just click on the cross or just click on the tick in line with the end of the year, and it will flip it to a cross, and that'll take them out for that term. So you can manually adjust things once you've done the wand import. As I said, that issue can arise this time of year. So if you do need to, just go and do that. So that's everything kind of pupil related. The next one is about tidying up your various different groups that you may or may not have created. So if you have been using filters for intervention groups or different types of things, what you may wish to do is go and edit them so that you can archive them. So if you've got a Bumblebee maths group that's on the go currently, let's say, and you still want to keep a monitor of the children that are in that group next year, but you're going to have a new maths filter next year, what you may want to do is just go and edit that and just put in maybe something like that so that we know it's the old one. And then next year when you come in, you create your new one. We can use that historically if we ever want to monitor those children next year. Okay, so it's just making sure that they're tidy. Any that you don't need, you can get rid of. Bear in mind, if you do delete them, they are gone for good. So please just bear that in mind. And that's kind of it for that one. Then what we may need to do is go and delete some old users. So any staff members that may be leaving, if they don't need access to iTRACK over the summer, or they've left now, or they're about to leave, it's probably worth just going on here, finding the one that you don't need. And let's say it's this one I want to get rid of. So I'm just going to go and find the bin, delete like that, and it's gone. So we just tidy up those users. If you've got anybody next year that's being promoted, let's say, you can always go and edit their account. If you need to make them an administrator, you can just go and add them to the administration list, and then they're all sorted for next year. Or you can do that when you come back, not a problem. So that's your users. The other thing is we want to go and make sure our data is locked in. So we go to the assessment lock-in tab, select. You have to do each key stage separately. I'm going to do key stage 1 and 2 first. You can do subjects individually, although there is no point. And what you're then going to want to do is just make sure that end of year is locked by clicking the little button at the top there, and it's all locked. If you haven't been locking your data so far this year, it will look like this. If it's white, it means it's unlocked. That means that if it's blank, data can be put in, but it also means if it's populated, that data can be edited either deliberately or accidentally. So at this time of year, what we probably need to do before we break up is just make sure everything is locked. You can do it by clicking individually. You can do it by individually clicking a term like that. You can do it by clicking a year like that, or just use the toggle all one, click it, make sure everything this year is locked like that. Give it a couple of seconds, job done. Now we want to go to foundation stage. If you have one, if you're not a junior school, toggle all, data locked, job done. That just means accidents can't happen. If we ever need to change things in future, let's say we log in September and we realize that someone had the data put in incorrectly, it can always be unlocked, changed, and locked again. So nothing's ever permanent, but we do just want to make sure that all of the assessment points are locked. Okay. And then the last couple of bits is all to do with statutory data, really. It's that time of year, as you may have noticed today, been running a little slowly because everybody's trying to upload their statutory results. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. And so I'm going to talk you through both. Generally speaking, it is an office job, and we are happy to talk you through things if we need to. The first option is in the admin section called Import Statutory Results. If you click on this one, this is designed for keeping on top of things. So you can only import here one full data set, meaning you can just put phonics on in one go. You can't put Key Stage 1 on with it. You'd have to then do Key Stage 1 separately after. Or if you were going to do Key Stage 1, it would put all the different subjects of Key Stage 1 on, but you can't do that as well as multiplication, for example. It's a data set at a time. All you have to do is generate a CTF from your MIS system, whichever that is, containing just those results. So create a phonics CTF, for example, and just import that file here, and it'll put all your phonics on for you. Same goes for Key Stage 1. Just each file, as you get them, go on here, import them. So that's methodology 1. Each file separately, keeping on top of them. Because you get them all on different dates, that tends to work quite well for kind of keeping on top of it and maintenance over the course of the year. If you have lots of gaps because you've had a lot of newcomers, or you're new to iTRACK and you've got loads of historic gaps or anything like that, there's another way we can do things, and that is in the Import Pupils tab. Underneath your wand button, there's a heading there called Import Pupil Results. With this one, unfortunately, wand can't pick up statutory data. So what that means is we have to replicate what wand does and include the statutory data. So this will also take a CTF, but this has to be a very specific type of CTF. The first thing is it has to be the whole school, because this page thinks that what you're uploading is what the school looks like. So we need to do a whole school CTF, set the destination on the CTF as the local authority. It doesn't actually get sent to them. It's just we use the same format. So set that as the destination. And then the two things it has to contain is all student basic info. So like genders, date of birth, all that sort of stuff. If it does include any other bits like parents' names and things like that, we don't actually store them. So if they were on the CTF, we wouldn't do anything with them anyway. But there is a checkbox on your MIS for something along the lines of include assessment data or include statutory results or include some key stage results. It's words to that effect. And that's the checkbox that WAND can't pick up. So all we need to do is make sure that the student basic info is included, the assessment results are included, save the CTF, import it here. That'll put all of that historic stuff on and fill in all of its little gaps. And that's kind of it. What you then probably want to do is just check that they've gone on. So to do that, we can go down to the cohort analysis tab. The first page is called Phonics and Key Stage Outcomes. If you click on that, you'll be able to go in and just check through the different reports and have a look at kind of what's gone on. You can just select whichever report you need. Okay, so we just select the year group. We can go and check. So if it's this year's year twos, I can select Key Stage 1 outcome, press go. I can see some of it's gone on, but not all of it. So obviously there's some more that needs uploading. Go and check the phonics. And it'll look something like that. You can see how old My account is. Yeah, and that's kind of everything on my list for today. Hopefully that stands you up quite well for next year.